everyone, welcome back to my channel, Accidental Beauty. For those of you who are new, I'm Laura, welcome. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe now and hit that notification button so you get updates when I upload. I upload 2 to 3 times a week. I do beauty videos, I do hair, makeup, fashion, all that good stuff. And I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at Loria1, so please follow me there as well. Today I'm going to be talking about the JUVIA'S Place Zulu palette, which I'm really excited to talk about. And I'm going to be talking about my first impressions, overall thoughts, and then I'm also going to do 3 different eye looks that you can achieve using just this palette. So if you want to hear about all that, then please keep on watching. Just a disclaimer, I filmed the intro and the conclusion of this video after I did all 3 eye looks. So I'm actually going to be doing sort of like more of a overall impression, but then during the tutorials I'm going to actually have my first impressions as I go along using this palette, if that makes sense. I guess first off, a little background about the company. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this brand, it's a relatively new brand. JUVIA'S Place is owned by a woman named Chichi Eburu. She's a black woman, she's a woman of color. She was born in Nigeria. She's a wife and mother of 2, launched her cosmetics company about 3.5, 4 years ago, so it's a relatively new company. She felt that at the time there wasn't anything in the beauty industry that really reflected or celebrated Black culture. And as I mentioned, she is from Africa, so she wanted to incorporate African culture into her packaging for her products. So you can see on the Zulu palettes, like the front of it, it's got a woman with a traditional African headdress and jewelry and everything, so you can definitely see African culture in the palette itself, as well as a lot of the different palette names from JUVIA'S Place are drawn from African culture, African locations. So this one's called the Zulu palette. There are a couple of palettes called the Saharan palette. There's also the Nubian palette, so there's a lot of African culture within these palettes within this brand. Another thing that I heard about this company is the founder was very frustrated because whenever she would swatch makeup, it wouldn't show up on her dark skin, so she wanted to make cosmetics, particularly eyeshadows, that will show up against the deepest skin tones all the way through the skin tone, I guess, color spectrum, if you want to call it that, which I think is really great. It sounds like it's a really inclusive brand and just really awesome. So I've been hearing a lot about this brand for, I guess, a couple years now. Maybe, yeah, probably about a couple years, probably around the time that it launched. And I've been hearing, it's the world's most pigmented eyeshadows, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I've been eyeing this brand for a while, and every time, palettes would go on sale, I'd look at them and then be like, well, I don't know, because they're coming from the States, so the exchange rate isn't great in Canadian dollars, and shipping to Canada is expensive. And then finally, right before Passover, JUVIA'S Place was having a sale for Easter, and a lot of their products were already on sale. So I've been eyeing the Zulu palette, the one that I ended up getting in particular, for bit of time now. Just the colors really spoke to me, and then also they don't contain carmine, which I'm allergic to, so it's a win-win. And it was on sale. So this palette normally retails for $21.50 US, and then I think it was on sale at the time for 20% off, so it was about $17. And then JUVIA'S Place was having this Easter sale, so it was like an additional 20% off. So it ended up being about $13 US, and I was eyeing it for a couple hours, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna get it. So, and after shipping it, I think shipping was about $8 or something like that, so after shipping, like, it ended up being still cheaper than the original price, or cheaper or about the same as the original price. So I consider that a win, and it came within about a week or so. So not bad, especially considering I'm sure a lot of people ordered during that sale. So that was cool. And then it sat on my desk for about 3 weeks or so because I've been wanting to film this first impressions video for quite a while, and I just didn't have time, and I had other things that I wanted to film and other things I wanted to do. So I finally got to it. So I hadn't touched it for 3 weeks. Like I hadn't even swatched it or anything. And now that I've used the palette, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why did I wait so long? Because it's absolutely amazing, but more on that later. Here's the box. It's a holographic thick paper, like a thick cardstock. It's quite a bit thicker than the actual palette itself, and that's because the palette came bubble wrapped inside the box, which I really appreciated. So there was absolutely no damage at all. It's just annoying when I put the palette back in the box that it sort of like jiggles around because it's too small for the box, but that's okay. So again, I mentioned the African imagery on the box and of course the name of the palette itself. And then on the back we have ingredients, we have a location. Juvia's Place is located in New Jersey, okay. And then we have a statement about the palette, so I'll just read it out. So it says, "Art is life. The ambiance of the Zulu eyeshadow palette takes on a new character. It exemplifies the rich arts of the Ndebele people of South Africa, embodied with colorful symmetry and precision. A limitless expression of self through eccentric hues, earth tones, and exotic metallic shades." So I think that pretty much sums up this palette. This is what it looks like. Super, super pretty. Look at those colors. So it's distributed by Juvia's Place, which is located in the US. It's created and formulated in the US, but made in PRC, which is the People's Republic of China. So I don't know if that means, oh, it says cruelty-free, so I guess it's not tested on animals. So just throwing that out there for people who are curious. I follow quite a few beauty YouTubers, so I'm learning interesting things that I personally don't really care about or wouldn't have thought of when looking at a palette, when choosing what palette to buy, or pros and cons about a palette. A few YouTubers who sort of do more critique style videos about the beauty community mention things like color stories when it comes to a makeup palette, specifically eyeshadow palettes. And some of them like to see the colors on the imagery or the packaging to reflect the colors inside. So I think Juvia's Place did a really great job of that. So we have like blues, turquoises, golds, pinks, and I mean, you don't see those exact colors, but you sort of see a similar color family in the palette itself. So I think that's a really cool detail. And I believe the imagery on each palette is different, if I'm not mistaken. This was really like the one that I had my eye on, but obviously all of them are ridiculously gorgeous, and I would love to try out other ones in the future, but right now I'm just gonna enjoy this one because the pans are also super, super deep, so I feel like I'm not gonna finish this one for a while. And the palette itself, it's got a bit of a holographic sheen to it as well, and then same thing on the inside, even on this pink background. It's still holographic. So I think that's super cool. The colors themselves, as you can see, are very bold, very bright, very eye-catching, very pigmented. So if color is not your thing, if you're afraid of bright yellows and magentas and greens, this palette might not be for you, but don't worry, they have other neutral, more neutral eyeshadow palettes that you might be more interested in. One last thing, so as I mentioned, these shadows are really, really pigmented, and when I picked this up, I heard about how pigmented they are, so I didn't go in like, you know, knowing nothing about this brand, but for some reason I just assumed that they'd be a similar formula to the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadows, which are very buttery, but also very like powdery. There's a lot of kick up with those shadows, so I just assumed it would be the same with these ones, and it's not. It's the complete opposite. I don't know how eyeshadows are pressed, but I guess these are pressed in maybe harder or maybe softer. I don't really know how it works, but they're super pigmented, but the shadows themselves, like when you swatch them, they're They're more dry feeling, I guess. They're harder. They're still buttery. They're just not as buttery, not as velvety. Not like it's a pro or a con, it's just sort of something that I noticed, that it's like these have a different texture than the Anastasia ones. That's all. But still crazy, crazy pigmented. So if pigment is your thing, if you're looking for a really pigmented shadow that has a lot of color payoff that looks the same as it does in the pan, this brand is the brand for you. That's pretty much all I have to say about the eyeshadow palette right now. I'm gonna do 3 different eye looks, and each one is gonna look totally different, and I'm gonna try and use as many shades as I can for each look. So let's just get into it. So the first shade is a nice matte orange. It's really, really pretty. So a really, really lovely, bright matte orange that I'm probably gonna use a lot because I actually really like orange eyeshadow. And then the next one is a nice matte sunshine yellow. Also think I'm gonna be using this one a lot. Okay, the next shade is a warm matte chocolatey brown. And I think I'm gonna be using this one a lot as well. This is great for a crease shade, it's great for an outer V shade. Really, really pretty. Great for neutral looks, great for bold looks. I think this is gonna be used a lot. The next shade didn't really swatch that great, but I'm not super concerned. It's a matte turquoise, similar to one that I have in the BH Cosmetics Modern Mattes palette, but this one is much more vibrant. So this is a metallic foiled lime green that I actually really, really like. It reminds me a lot of that shade from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette, except this one's a bit darker, but really, really like it. So I think I'm definitely gonna try and experiment with that one. The next shade is a metallic turquoise, I guess. It's like a icy light blue with a little bit of green. It looks much more blue actually swatched than it does on the pan, but really, really pretty. The next shade is my favorite one in the palette. It's a duochrome pink gold, like a rose gold with almost like purple undertones, also a metallic shade. And then the second last shade is just a bright matte magenta. It reminds me a lot of Love Letter from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. So I really, really like that one. Definitely going to be using that one a lot. And then the final shade is a gorgeous warm matte purple. So I'm going to start off by taking this brown shade and I'm going to stick it on the inner corner. I should specify the inner corner of my lid area, crease. Okay, people did not lie. People always talk about the Anastasia shadows. They're so buttery to swatch and they're so buttery to apply and blend. These are so like the opposite of powdery, but they just apply so smoothly. This is like sorcery. This is like magic. This is so wow. Like, wow, wow, oh my. Okay, I'm really excited for this look already. Okay, so I'm purposely using a really small brush because I'm gonna try and put as many colors as I can on. I was gonna prime my eyelids with some Shape Tape and I completely forgot, so this is actually going on bare skin. Oops. Anyways, so next I'm gonna go into this gorgeous magenta color and I'm gonna put that right next to the brown. Oh my. Okay, this may be my new favorite eyeshadow palette because these eyeshadows are perfection. Oh, they just apply so easily and like you can see where I sort of just blended, like barely blended, just sort of applied this magenta color on top of the brown. Like it just blends so easily and I didn't even do anything. Oh my god, okay. Okay, oh, not like this brand needs it, but JUVIA'S Place. I am a new fan. Oh, and now I kind of regret waiting so long to use this palette. And then next, I'm going to use some of this yellow. So these layer really, really nicely. And then I'm just going to finish off that crease area with the orange. So I'm just gonna try and like wing that out. Probably should have been a bit more precise, but Hey, you know what? That looks pretty cool. So I'm going to use my Morphe M507 brush. So it's a mini blending brush. So I'm just going to blend in the colors like sort of where they meet. Oh wow, it looks so much more intense on camera than it does in real life, but wow, now I feel like I'm losing a little bit of the intensity. So you know what, I'm gonna go back into all the colors and just sort of stamp on just sort of more in the center, not where the colors blend together. Okay, now I'm just gonna blend out the edges at the top. I kind of feel like doing the lower lash area first. Let me just blend out this yellow a little bit more. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna add a little bit of the yellow over here. And now the teensiest bit of the pink just to blend it. Okay, it looks a little bit muddy. That's probably just my fault. I'm just gonna stamp that yellow on. Just add the same colors up here on my lower lash line, and then I'll deal with the lid. I want to save like the inner corner for highlighting purposes. Oh, it looks so like festive. I'm gonna do the other eye off camera and then I'll come back and do the lid situation. So I don't want to spoil what I have because I really like how it is right now, but I'm gonna take some Shape Tape concealer on my Sigma and I'm just gonna sharpen this cut crease. Okay, so I may have gone a little bit high with this. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna go over that again with eyeshadow. Okay, so I just concealed my lids. This is what it looks like. It's actually better than I thought. This is my first time, I think, doing this intricate cut crease. So the concealer on this side kind of bled a little bit. I don't know how else to call it. Like, it's not super smooth at the top. I think I put too much of it on. So I'm gonna try and do what Raw Beauty Christy does, where she leaves a line of negative space when she does a cut crease, which I think is super cool. I think I'm gonna try a brush first, but I have a feeling I might end up needing my fingers, but I'm not gonna wet my brush with Fix Plus because I wanna see how it applies without. And I'm gonna go into this beautiful shade. This is so pretty. I'm tempted to just clean up that line a little bit with more concealer. So I'm gonna take like just the tiniest bit on my brush. This is what I have so far. Okay, now I think I'm gonna do my face and my eyes. This is the final look. I absolutely love the way this turned out. These shadows are absolutely amazing. I'm absolutely blown away by how good these shadows are. I expected to be blown away, but I'm Whew, I can't get over how pretty they are. The colors just blend amazingly into each other. They perform great. And the metallic shade that I have on my lid right now, also, I didn't even need to wet my brush. I didn't need Fix Plus or anything like that. It just applied so nicely and so vivid and bright. So whatever JUVIA'S Place puts in their eyeshadows, it's just magic, which I know they have a palette called the Magic Palette. So I see what you did there. And I just absolutely love these shadows and I can't wait to play with them more. So let's move on to the next look. So look number 2, I'm gonna start off by putting the brown shade in my crease. And I'm just gonna blend that out with a fluffy brush. So next I'm gonna take the purple shade and I'm gonna put that also in the crease just below the brown and blend those two together. Oh, that's totally not what I wanted to do. Okay, I messed up on this side, so I guess I'll just do the same. If you wanted to recreate this look at home though, you could skip what I just did with the purple and just move on to the next step. So what I actually meant to do was take the pink shade and put that in the crease. And I really want that pretty pink to show through, so I'm gonna build up the color. And then blend that out. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more color just above the crease area, sort of over here, and I'm gonna mix the pink and the brown together. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more brown. So now for the part that I've been looking forward to the most, I'm gonna put the rose gold duochrome shade on my lids. So since I want to add as many colors as I can to these looks, I'm going to add a little bit of purple just on the outer V, and then I might just blend a little bit of pink just so that transition is more seamless. Again, I'm going to mix some of that pink into where I put the purple. Okay, I think I'm gonna take a little bit more of the rose gold foil shade and then just try and blend that in where the purple and pink is on the outer V. So now I'm gonna run some of the pink magenta color along my lower lash line. I'm gonna put some liner and mascara and lashes on, and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is the final look. For the third look, I'm going to use up the colors that I haven't used yet, which are this green and then this turquoise. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to start off by putting some of this brown in my crease. I think I actually still have a little bit of the pink left on there. Oops. Yeah, it's kind of like a pinkish brown, but okay, whatever, we can work with this. So I'm just going to blend it out. And actually, you know what? I'm going to take a little bit more of the brown on this brush. Okay, now I'm going to take some of this yellow and I'm going to put that at the lower area of where I put the brown. And then just blend that. So I'm going to take that turquoise, I'm going to put it on the outside and on the inside, but I'm going to leave the middle blank because I'm going to do a halo. So next, I'm gonna take this lime green right in the center of the palette, and I think I'm just gonna use my fingers to apply that right in the center of my lid. Ooh, that looks super cool. I think I'm just gonna add a little bit of the yellow just in the crease. I'm just gonna take some of the brown again and just use it to smoke out the top. I think I'm just going to take a tiny bit of this rose gold color and I'm going to put that in my inner corner to highlight it. And I'm going to add a little bit on my brow bone. Okay, so now I'm going to just use the same turquoise that I used on my lids just to smoke out my lower lash line. And I want to connect it to the outer edges of my lid. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit of the brown that I used on my crease area and just use that right along my lash line. Now I'm just going to put some eyeliner, mascara, and lashes on, and then I'll be back. So this is the way it turned out. I really love this again. Like, I love all three looks that I created, and I love how wearable these shades are. Okay, so that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video about Juvia's Place and the Zulu palette and my first impressions, my tutorials, my thoughts about it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think of the looks that I did, what you think about the palette itself. If you own the palette, feel free to comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video.